if you are also someone who has read all the basic books, you know what I mean? Like The Power of Now, Atomic Habits. I haven't actually read that one, but all the classic life-changing books that you usually encounter in these videos, at least for me, it's a little bit of an upgrade, a level up, if you will, of books that have really changed my life. If that sounds interesting to you, then obviously stay tuned. First book, we are starting off with a bang. Humankind by Rutger Bregman. I don't even know where to start with this fucking book. Wow, I'm using a sample of Charlotte's Magic Cream as my bookmark. Great. I have so many bookmarks. This book has been truly perspective shifting. This is actually a history book. And if you know me, I am absolutely not into history. However, this is one of the only books, there's actually only 2 books that I've rated 5 stars in the past, maybe not quite 2 years, but almost 2 years. 2 of those books are actually in this video, by the way. And I have yet to find a book that is as absolutely mind-shattering post, again, spiritual growth, spiritual awakening, okay? I'm just gonna read out this thing because it's just very intriguing. How would your life and view of the world change if you knew people were good? Oh my god. Basically, what this book is talking about is making the case with history. The author debunks a lot of different research as well. Some you might be familiar with, like the Stanford prison experiment. A lot of those stories really make us think that humans are actually bad. And this is a whole book. How many pages is this? Almost 400 pages of evidence that humans are good. Obviously, in the grand scheme of things, 400 pages is not a lot at all. But pre-reading this book, I hate society. I hate people. I have no faith in humanity. I think that humans are fundamentally bad. Like, we're fucking cursed, and why is the world such a bad place and things like that. But in the first few chapters, the author makes you realize that, like, actually the news and the media and I guess the human nature of everything anyway, like, we are so inclined to focus on the negative, and that's a function of survival, really. That's what the brain does. It makes us focus into the negatives. So that's why we think that humans are bad, when there's actually so much evidence that humans are fundamentally good. It's just that through all the crap that has happened in the world, it has made us do bad things, right? If you are an avid viewer of this channel, you already know distinguishing between labeling someone as bad or doing something bad. This book has made me so much more compassionate towards myself. It has made me able to really much more easily assume the best in people, giving people my generous assumption, seeing past the layer of scars that make people do bad things. When I see someone doing bad things, I'm just able to really see the hurt in them, because that's really what's behind all the fucked up things that humans do in this world. It's all coming from, like, wounds that have festered and not being taken care of, not healed and nourished. And so this book has made me so much more hopeful about society. I mean, it's a hopeful history. Yuval Noah Harari himself, you know, the author of Sapiens, read this book and said, made me see humanity from a fresh perspective. And that man knows a thing or two about humans as the author of Sapiens. And that's actually a honorable mention in this video as well, Sapiens. Okay, let's move on to the second book, It is Radical Intimacy by Sophie K. Rosa. This is a book that I read for a book club that I am a part of. So in a world where money rules, what does it mean to have good relationships? So this whole book is really talking about how capitalism has shaped the way we see relationships. Capitalism has really made us devalue intimacy and only value certain types of relationships, such as the nuclear family, right? Certain types of relationships actually have a function for the system to actually survive and thrive. What actually keeps this system going? It needs exploitation of humans. And so how can this world produce more and more labor so that profit can also be increased? Babies. If our society really values babies, then there's going to be more and more labor, right? There's going to be more and more money. So that is why in this society, we are kind of essentially brainwashed into thinking that, family is everything. Or like romantic relationships, having that life partner, right? Finding a husband or wife are one of the most important relationships to pursue, right? When that is actually designed in the service of capital. This book is really good for those of you who have gone on this healing journey by yourself for quite a long time at this point, and now starting to feel quite isolated and realizing the importance of intimacy and connection in your life, and that you can't actually heal by yourself. This is a great book for you to pick up when you're in a place where you don't necessarily have those people or places that you can find fulfillment and connection from, because I don't think that's necessarily accessible for everyone. Again, capitalism has made us all so busy to the point where we can't have any capacity emotionally, physically, for connection, for intimacy, right? So it really makes me think about the different kinds of intimacy, the different kinds of relationships that we all have in our lives. It's not just about romantic relationships, right? I don't usually do tarot readings about relationships. I mean, I say that from a place of privilege, I guess, in the sense that I have already found my life partner. I'm not discounting the importance and how supportive it is to have a romantic partner. It's made me really value and prioritize my friendships. It has really, as someone who isn't in contact with their parents anymore, it has really shifted the way I see family. For me, family isn't just people who are related to me by blood. It has made me really creating connection with everyone, because I've been really isolating myself for the past couple years, ever since I have been on a journey of doing shadow work, working on myself, healing my wounds, and I have really distanced myself from a lot of relationships that actually make my life so fulfilling. This book has really helped me find connection even in places that you think wouldn't necessarily create that intimacy. I'm able to find little fragments of connection even with the people who I buy ice cream and crisps from when I suddenly have a little bit of a craving after I had a big dinner at 8:30 in the evening, So let's move on to the next book. It is Tarot for Change by Jessica Dore. I know that tarot is not for everyone, but hear me out, okay? Even if you don't like tarot, but if you do like tarot and you are into psychology and neuroscience and you haven't fucking come across this book, you gotta run. You just simply have to run and eat this book up, okay? This book has single-handedly transformed my tarot practice, the way that I read tarot. I feel like I have a completely different way of reading tarot now, to the point where sometimes I don't even remember the traditional kind of meanings to tarot anymore. It informs the way that I live. It informs the approach that I take with my clients, whether that be tarot or coaching. Most importantly, it has strongly shaped my courage, my whole identity, my whole being. Wow, that is a lot to credit to a freaking book, but it's so true. Like, before reading tarot in Dore's way, I would let my fears hold me back a lot. And now I have been just more courageous. I am able to do things despite being absolutely terrified. I have learned that fearlessness is probably impossible, and you don't really need it anyway, because you can develop behavioral sovereignty. Because of this book, I now have more friends, I have more connections, I am able to live a more creative life, which is the life that I have always dreamed of since I was a kid. I feel like that is really my essence. Is I'm just a very creative and sensitive being, and this book has helped me become more compassionate towards myself. It's helped me accept myself, and also helped my clients do the same as well. I'm still putting my work out there despite being absolutely terrified. I already mentioned that, but this is hard for me to sit down, show up, post the video, even though there's like 20 people watching. I still do it anyway. If you are curious with this approach, this behavioral sovereignty, I actually offer one-on-one coaching if you would like to have support on that. You can find all the links down below if you're interested in a tarot reading that is a more accessible way for you to work with me. I do offer different ranges of prices and different levels of support. Book with me for a tarot. I'm gonna be able to help you with cultivating that courage, resilience, and let you not necessarily conquer your mind and your emotions, but not let them control you. So for those of you who are actually interested in tarot, I now see like the different suits differently. So in the minor arcana, wands are energy, cups are emotions, pentacles are behavior, and swords are intellect. So mostly it is the behavior thing that has completely changed the way I read. It's also backed by research as well. It's very much based on a lot of different therapy modalities, like a lot of ACT, a lot of CBT. Here there's compassion focused therapy. I don't even know that that's a thing, but I would love to research more on that. Now, the next book is for my homies. 4,000 Weeks by Oliver Burkeman, Time Management for Mortals. If you are a Gemini, if you are a Sagittarius, if you're a manifesting generator, even if you're not, this book is an essential. What if you stopped trying to do everything? This is the main question that this book wants you to reflect on. The thing is, we just can't do everything that we want to do. And Burkeman is arguing that when we finally accept that we just simply can't do everything, we take off so much pressure from making the most out of our finite time in this world, which on average is 4,000 weeks. I used to put so much pressure on doing everything efficiently. I'm obsessed with like looking at my watch. I'm not even wearing my watch now. Whereas before, I would constantly be looking at my watch. I would constantly be setting timers on myself because I feel like I'm so slow, like especially in my morning routines. I'm just so not efficient when I have so many things that I want to be doing in my life. The thought of that is already exhausting before you even do anything because you're overwhelmed. I mean, I'm overwhelmed with all of the possibilities that life has to offer. But after reading this book, I just let myself devour every single moment that I have, every single thing that I do. You know, I have been on this journey for a while now of reframing my perspective on rest and valuing rest, and that life doesn't have to be hard, that it's okay to be slow paced. I'm starting to be okay with just like enjoying the little sun rays that are peeking through the blinds at 8:32 a.m. My cat just curling up beside me and being cute, and I'm just like lying there. Before I would be like, no, I can't enjoy this. I would just immediately jump to my workout gear. I need to meditate for 20 minutes, but like actually I want to journal, so I have to only meditate for 10 minutes instead of 20 so that I have time for journaling, and then I can start everything. You know, like it's so stressful. And I feel like my stress levels have gone down ever since I have stopped looking at time in that kind of quantitative way. Just living so much more intuitively and just releasing that pressure of timelines, that pressure that we need to be doing things at a certain time, like, oh, before I'm 30 I need to be a millionaire, or I have to be married and blah blah blah. Like that's so much pressure, and like why? You know, it makes me just accept where I am in life, exactly where I am, and like being okay with where I am. Some of the insights from this book that I would like to share. If you are up in the mindfulness discourse, then you know that we now have this pressure to really live in the present moment, right? And that if we live in the present moment, then we won't find any problems, right? But then, ironically, because I'm just gonna read from the book, you're so fixated on trying to make the best use of your time, in this case, not for some later outcome, but for an enriching experience of life right now, that it obscures the experience itself. And I feel like this really helps me make sense of that phenomenon of like, I'm so confused when I try so hard to be in the present moment, and like, where is the pleasure in this? But that's because we're pressuring ourselves to make the best use of our time, right? When Burkeman argues that like we never even have time in the first place. Time is just what we pay our attention to. Time is not a resource, and we are taught to see it that way, right? But that is also part of the problem. You know, that creates that pressure in our lives to make the most out of it. Turns out that trying to have the most intense possible present moment experience is a surefire way to fail. And if you are on that journey as well, to want to learn to be content with exactly where you are in your life, then I recommend you check out this video. Don't forget to like if you have reached this part of the video, and subscribe for more things to enrich your nerdy brain. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!